we are going to start letting people in. So
we'll be about 9 people total so far.
Okay, here we go. Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? Just give us a second here as we get kind of started up and letting everyone in from the waiting room here.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. It's a big day in Kaushal team's progress, and all of you have been instrumental in our success, in our keeping our morale high. Real estate is not an easy game, but you have worked with us, boosted our morale, inspired us, kept us motivated, kept us going, kept helping us. So we have reached this point, and this is our next thing called the Kaushals, season 1, episode 1.
Right. So,
and
just to kind of share some of the format with you guys, because it's our first one. What we're going to do every time we have one of these will be, it's about 30 minutes, and the first couple of minutes will be us talking about what we're experiencing in the market, how the market is going, what's it like for buyers, what's it like for sellers, what kind of trends we're kind of navigating. I'll share some numbers if you like that kind of thing, and then after that, we will bring our guest on. And so we're having, Zoom conference with our guests, and our today's guests, we'll introduce them a bit more later, but there are some folks that we've been working with for a long time, 2 wonderful ladies in the escrow world. So they'll be able to go through the ins and outs of what escrow and title do in their roles. And we'll share a couple of stories and answer some questions for people who haven't gone through the process before, as well as, people who might have only been through it once or a couple times. So with all of that said, I won't take up too much time with a lot of this intro stuff. What I would like to do, and what I would love to do right now, is just jump right into it with you guys. So I am going to share my screen with y'all, and we will take a look at
what's happening in the market. So we're going to share with some trends and some of our understanding why certain things are happening a certain way.
So just give me a second while I get that going. Right. And if someone could just give me a heads up, yes or no, if you're able to see the screen that I am sharing.
Anyone?
Not yet, but I'll let you know once we see it.
Thank you. All right, how's it look right now, guys? Can you guys see that?
Yeah, it's working.
Right, perfect.
You can see it.
All right, so jumping into some market data, market stats. What things we have right now at the start of August, sitting at about 8,500 listings. At this time last year, you actually had over 13,000. So we're actually down almost 40% on the listings that we have active on the market. So that's where we're seeing, where you see people are saying we have a lot of tight inventory. That's exactly what we're talking about right there. The next thing obviously is under contract listings. So we can see that we are actually increased in under contract listings. So it's one of the things that we're noticing in our market right now is there's just an absolute frenzy of buyer activity right now. It's probably post coronavirus, pent up demand, things like that. So you can see that the under contract number is actually higher at an additional 15-16% right there. So your active listings are down, your under contracts are up. It's just these listings are just getting eaten as soon as they're coming onto the market, and that's what we're feeling the same thing. And then jumping into sales price, you can see that the sales price from this year is the median sales price is 315,000. Last year, you're sitting at about 280,000. So you're up 12.5%, and even you're actually up a little over 3% from just last month. So during these last few months, we've actually seen prices rise rapidly. And it's another reason why buyers are scrambling to buy properties right now before prices continue to rise right there. So just some commentary on that. What we're seeing is very low inventory in our market, the Phoenix market, where you have 5-6 million people in the metro area. To have a balanced market, which is not a buyer's market, not a seller's market, you need about 30,000 active listings to have that kind of effect. And just 4 years ago, a couple years ago, I remember when I just joined Dad on the team, is that you would see that you would have 18, 16, 17, 18,000 listings on the market. And just in that time, you see that it's cut in less than half, or a little less than half in that time. So it's a little crazy right now. What we're seeing is signs that you're going to have not massive relief, because the only thing that can really relieve this amount of demand is if you just have a lot of supply. So you need thousands of houses to kind of hit the market simultaneously. So whether that's sellers to take advantage of the market and sell right now, or you had large institutional investors suddenly offload hundreds of properties, or if you had new construction also rapidly be building at the same time. So it's unlikely that you're going to get all three of those all at once. So we're going to likely feel the same kind of thing throughout the Phoenix market for the rest of the year. So what does that mean? It's great for sellers. It's a great time to sell right now. It's a little tough for buyers. The market is very competitive. Looking at homes this weekend, and I told them, make sure you like more than one, because we're going to have to, maybe have a backup. And each of those houses that we liked has 6 or 7 offers on it. And so we're seeing that it's getting a little crazy out there right now. It's a little tough for buyers to jump into a property that they want. However, we are seeing buyers really want to buy right now. That's where really some of the frenzy is. Some of the reasons we're seeing that, and here I have some reasons why are things kind of jumping around right now, or such a frenzy right now. So you're seeing a lot of work from home. So people are spending more time from home. You realize they don't have enough space, or they might have too much space, or they need their own space or additional spaces like home office, gyms, because they are open and close, spare bedrooms, that kind of thing. Additionally, since you have less commuting to work, you're able to live farther. So people where homes weren't feasible for them before, because they're like, oh, it's an hour away from work, or it's a little too far from work. Well, a lot of people are going to be working from home for the next year, or for some of the foreseeable future, or a mixture of work from home and into the office policies. So we'll kind of see how that plays out over the next year. One of the biggest things is that mortgage rates have hit some historic numbers, some historic lows, below even 3%. And so what that really does is increase buying power for our buyers. So every 0.5% that the mortgage, the 30-year fixed rate kind of goes up, so it jumps up by 0.5%, your buying power decreases by 5%. So on a $200,000 house, and your buying power, you can't really find too much for $200,000 these days, but on that, if you wait too long and the interest rate jumps back, if you could afford $200,000 before, you might be only able to afford $190,000 now. And if prices continue to increase over that time, well, that $200,000 house is now $210,000. Your buying power is only sitting at $190,000. So that's some of the factors that we're seeing in our market that is really driving it. So low interest rates and very low inventory. So that's it for me. I'm with our market stats for right now.
Couple of things over that. Last week, I was checking through, and 40% of the homes have been bought at over the listing price. So people are offering, there are multiple offers on every property, and most of the time, the lowest starting price we see these days is the asking price, and the next person coming in starts going 5, 10, 15,000 over the asking price, which is pretty much the new normal we see on almost every house. And we also noticed that the rental rates of the properties have gone up by 3% since the start of COVID. So which is also a difference, change in the market. And with that, thank you very much, everyone, our friends who have joined for helping us. And we would like you to meet our wonderful friends, guests, and gorgeous ladies with us, Jami, Busch, and Toni Taylor. I'm going to give you a little introduction about our guests, our friends, and in fact, they have been our mentors, because when we joined real estate, we were a little disheartened about the amount of competition and whatever was going on. So getting to the topic, choosing the right title company when you buy, sell, or refinance a house is very important, and you do have a choice. So it's not like you're stuck dealing with somebody has suggested on the other side to use a particular title company. You have a choice, you can insist. And the one ladies that we are talking to, our guests here, been with the Great American Title Agency for a long period of time, which GAT, what we call Great American Title, is locally owned and operated title and escrow company that have great success we have with working with. And they've been in business for 22 years and employed some of the best brains and the best knowledgeable escrow officers and title management insurance agents in Arizona. And Jami, Busch, and Toni Taylor with close to have 45 years of real estate and title company experience between the two of them. So with that, I would like give us a moment. We're having some minor technical issues.
Difficulties.
Yeah.
It seems like our guests have, they were in their office and they've had a power outage. So, so you know what they say, whatever can go wrong will go wrong.
Yeah, normally we. Okay,
They can jump on the cell.
Right, yeah, I did share that with them that they should jump on their cell phones. So they are jumping on that, and when I get them in here, I will share their screens and stuff like that.
So meanwhile, if anyone on this, any of the.
Oh, hang on, I think we got them right here. So
Okay.
Give us a moment right now.
Well, the good thing is Toni and Jami has trained us very well. The only thing is we cannot give any advice because we don't have the license. So when the guru is there, when the mentor is there, they always take precedence. But for if any reason they're not able to connect, we will share a few things we have learned from them. Oh, they are back!
So sorry.
Thank you. Meet the lovely ladies we have been saying nice things about. You probably missed out. We said nice things about you.
We didn't hear anything
I know.
to be lovely about us.
Good thing you will be able to get out of the door, otherwise your head will swell and you may get stuck. We said so many nice things.
You silly.
Yeah. Okay. We already finished introducing you. So now you tell us about your experience with GAT, with your insurance and escrow. What kind of questions people ask you? What kind of things people have done wrong, or people who have come from other companies who have not learned things right? What kind of mistakes they have been making? How you have corrected them? So share some experiences. Maybe we'll start with how and when you got with the Great American Title.
All right, take it away. So
Yes,
thank
take it
you.
away.
We're very sorry about that. We had everything went dark. So we got cut off and then we couldn't get back on. So apologize for that. So Jami and I have worked with Great American Title for a long time. I won't go into how long because we're so young, of course. So
yeah,
just know we're so young. But between us, we do have approximately 45 years experience in title, escrow, and real estate. So I'm a different role in the title business than Jami. Jami's the important one. I'm just here to, you know, shine off of her. So she's the shy one, and I'm the mouthy one. So anyway, we have a lot of agents and a lot of consumers that come to us who don't know what a title company is at all. So one of the top questions that we get is, what is a title company? So I'm sure that's happened to you, and why do you need one? So what's a title company, Jami, and why do we need them?
Well, you need them to close your escrow. You need them to clear your title. You need them to handle your contracts, make sure that everything is followed, that is given out, and make sure that your proceeds are dispersed properly. And
Yep.
clear title, that's the big thing. Make sure that we are giving your buyer clear title.
Exactly. And so saying that, you know, what does that actually mean? So when a consumer writes a contract with their real estate agent, then everything is open with a title and escrow company. So here in Arizona, we have a title and escrow company together. You don't need two separate companies. We'll take care of everything for you together. So we run a title search to make sure that the title is clean and shiny, and so that the seller is the right person to pass that property on to the buyer, and that the buyer is actually receiving a good property with no issues. And for that, we charge an insurance premium, which is the title policy, and you pay it one time. It's not like a homeowner's policy. You pay it once, and you really should keep that policy. I mean, always buy that policy, because you don't want somebody coming back from 1942 saying they had a claim to your property, and you know, now you've got issues, and you're like, well, who are you, old man? You know, like, you want a piece of me? So we want to go ahead and make sure that the title is clear, and that the seller is the right person. They're not trying to sell that property from under their wife without the wife knowing. And we see all of that type of thing. And we are neutral in the middle. So both parties, the buyer and the seller, both pay us a fee. So we don't work for one or the other. We are neutral. We follow everything in writing. So any questions so far? Anybody?
Anyone?
You can always feel free to write in the chat, guys, if you have questions as they come up. But of
No,
course.
but you guys are doing a great job explaining, and I also love your accent, Toni.
Oh, well, thank you. I don't think I have an accent. I think you do, but thank you so much.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I love it. I'll keep going. So, you know, let's talk about if there's an issue, right? If there's an issue with a title, let's say you've purchased a property somewhere and it wasn't through Great American Title, because we wouldn't do that, right? But say further down the road, you find out that somebody is attacking your title. What do you do if you've got title insurance? What do you do? So basically, you're going to make a claim with the title insurance company, and then they're going to pay for any legalities to get that cleared up for you. And if you lose any money, then that's covered. So that's why you want to make sure that you have that in place. So am I missing anything?
No, I don't think so. Pretty good so far.
I told you she's a shy one and I'm the mouthy one, right? So we have a lot more things that come up a lot. So I can talk forever. So do you want me to keep going? What do you want me to do?
How about this one? Share with us like one of the maybe more extreme cases of something like that happening, where title insurance or title escrow has protected someone or disputed a huge claim or something like that.
Like a scenario? Give you a
Yeah.
That would be a trick question.
Most of the time, or I should say a lot of the time, it's a fence that's a foot too far on your neighbor's property, but it's been there for years, or the house is built too close to the setback and neither party knows it, and they didn't get, they sold it to this friend and they didn't get title insurance, and then it's discovered when they go to sell it. So that's when we have to go back. We help them go back. If there was title insurance in the transaction, we tell them where to go, how to figure out, to make the claim, to correct it, or, sometimes it's rather than going the legal route, a person will purchase or sell, the seller will sell that little bit of the property to make the parcel proper. So it just depends on, but most of the time it's a lot line that somebody thought this, 3 feet of the property was theirs for this many years, and in truth it belonged to the neighbor.
How about that?
And while you were talking, we got a couple of questions. One of them was, who pays for the title insurance?
You do. You, the Kaushals team. Just kidding.
Well, we have.
Disconnect.
Should be paying. Why Kaushals have been paying? I want to know.
No, so the answer to that comes up all the time. Who pays for the title insurance? So do you want to answer, or you want me to talk?
I can talk.
Yes.
So in a purchase transaction, there are 2 title policies that are issued. There's the owner's policy, which the seller, because they're selling the property and they're conveying the property clear, they provide an owner's policy and pay for that for the buyer. The buyer, if they finance, their lender also requires a lender's policy to protect the lender as well. So it's the buyer pays for the lender's policy, the seller pays for the owner's policy.
Got it. And if a buyer pays and there's no lender involved, then they don't have to buy title insurance,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Okay.
And one of the questions we get, and we always pass it to you, Jami, is how should we take the title? Talk to Jami.
Exactly. Talk to Jami.
Yeah, because normally a married couple will take it community property with right of survivorship, but oftentimes you'll have an investment property where they take it as joint tenants with right of survivorship. If you are a mother and son, sister and brother, cousins buying a property together, you would take it joint tenants with right of survivorship. You don't always have to do the survivorship. You can do a 50% as to, an undivided 50% where each of you owns 50% of the house, so that your 50% could transfer to your beneficiaries. It's, each one is individual, each situation, and that's why you called me and asked.
Jami, that brings up kind of another question I was thinking about. Like today, we're running on that deal. And it's like, when is the best time? So we say there's only one borrower, so only one person on the loan, but they're married. When is the best time to add their spouse, whether their husband or their wife, to the title? Is it during the sale, during the transaction, or is it afterwards? What's usually the best route to do that?
The way that I usually work with that is sometimes the lender doesn't want the wife on the contract, or the husband, depending on credit issues. So I will offer to do a deed to add them at the end of our transaction, because as long as I do the deed in our closing, we are okay with that. After we close, the state looks at it as me basically practicing law, so I can't do a deed after the fact, but as long as I have an open escrow, I can add the wife or the husband, you know, at closing. So we would record all the documents for the transaction. And then when they signed, they would have signed a deed going from the vesting on the contract to the two of them, husband and wife, community property. And we would record that after the fact so that then they are both on title, both protected.
Got it. And in MLS, we see one thing lately is the seller insists use this title company, or they have already opened an escrow with a such and such title company. Is the buyer obligated to go with what MLS says about is already there, opened, or it can be changed or should be changed?
Okay, so my viewpoint on that from a real estate standpoint, from a consumer standpoint, is it's your choice. You're paying for your title insurance and your escrow. So you as the consumer, you have a choice. And so if you see in the MLS that you're buying from a seller and it says, please use XYZ title company, we think that it's best that you choose your own. So ignore it. Ignore it. The only time that you have to use somebody's title company is if it's a bank-owned property, if it's like a foreclosure type property, and they're forcing you, and there's lots of reasons why. So that's really the only time that you are going to be forced to use them. So I say always choose your own title company anyway. We, as a title company, when we work with our realtors like the Kaushals team, we ask them to please write in, up front, because we will have already looked at the liens and the deeds to see if there's any issues before, because the Kaushals team are very good about making sure there's no issues from the beginning. So most of the time we have done some work already. We have pre-opened the escrow. We've started the title work, but then you as a seller working with the Kaushals team and you've got the listing, we say, please use Great American Title. The buyer is going to come in and say, well, I don't have to. And you're right, they don't have to, but it's very important for us that we've already started. So let's just keep going. So you're not obligated as a buyer, but I always say he who is the strongest offer on the table wins. So let's just do what we want to do and write Great American Title in there.
Right. Everyone who's listening always insists on Great American Title.
Exactly.
And
Miss Jami.
your escrow officer is Jami. Well, ladies, thank you very much for sharing your knowledge and being with us. And if we have any questions, and also you guys share the buyers.
Yeah, so if anyone ever has questions, we do have wonderful buyer's guides from Great American Title, from Toni and Jami, that we can.
They have moving guides, they have PERPTA guides, all the information that you will need and want something to read before you go to sleep, not falling asleep. In fact, it's a good information. And one, if you're investing your life, it's the biggest investment of your life, please.
Right.
Yeah, ask for these guides from Great American Title team here.
And we can help you out with that as well. So with 30 seconds left to go on this, we wanted to say thank you so much to everyone who viewed in on our very first episode, and a very special thank you to Toni and Jami for blessing our first inaugural episode, our premiere.
Oh, well,
Thank you.
We appreciate it very much. And everybody should know, if they don't know already, that the Kaushals team, they're punctual, they're on time, they do everything they say they're going to do. They bend themselves into a pretzel, they go above and beyond. We love them and we appreciate you and all of your clients. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.